my people, how are you doing? You're having a damn good day. Welcome back to the channel, and today we will be talking about Eddie Howe's 4-3-3 formation with the new signings of Tonali and so on, you know, with the likes of Barnes and all those good time players. They're going to be in the team. We're going to be talking about them and how their roles have somewhat changed the likes of Eddie Howe's system ever so slightly, of course. So we will be talking about that. Please, if you can, hit the like button down below. That would be absolutely fantastic. If you are new to the channel, subscribe. That would be absolutely great as well. But more importantly, we have done these tactics before. That is a slightly different variation to the tactics I will be talking about now. So if you can, if you have a bit more time after this video, click on that. Let me know how you like those tactics compared to these ones, and vice versa, of course. So let's hop on into it. Of course, I've gone with the team that started against the likes of Liverpool over the weekend, and I thought, you know what? For 80 minutes of that game, they played incredibly well. 10-man Liverpool, they were under the cosh. And you know what? It's just the way football goes at times. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And, you know, it wasn't Newcastle's day, you can say. Like those 2 late goals by Darwin Núñez, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic goals for Núñez. Just a bit unlucky for Newcastle. But anyways, we've got Anthony Gordon starting on the left wing. He had a fantastic game. He absolutely had Trent on absolute skates for majority of that game. We've got Isaac, Almiron, we've got Tonali, we've got Guimaraes, got Jolinton. Fantastic midfield 3, by the way. Fantastic. One of the best in the Premier League, if you ask me. We've got Daniel Byrne, or Dan Byrne, as the left back. We've got Botman, we've got Shaw, we've got Trippier, captain, of course. We've got Nick Pope. Then we've got Barnes, Wilson, Willock, Longstaff, Dubravka, former Manchester United goalkeeper for like 6 months. We've got Livramento, another new signing. Then, of course, we've got Lewis Hall. Then in the reserves, we've got Manquillo, we've got Fraser, we've got Murphy, Lascelles, Karius, Kraft, Anderson, Target, and then a few others I could not care about. But yes, just going forward, that is the team right there, the 4-3-3 formation. As you can see right there, the formation. You've got 1 goalkeeper, 2 centre-backs, 2 full-backs, 1 DM, 2 central midfielders, 1 striker, and of course, 2 wingers. Newcastle's tactical approach in a 4-3-3 formation led by manager Eddie Howe is characterised by an energetic and adaptable style that seeks to capitalise on both defensive pressure and offensive opportunities. The defence. Eddie Howe's side opts for a constant pressure defensive style, reflecting their relentless nature when out of possession. This approach involves high-intensity pressing to disrupt the opponent's build-up and trying to regain the ball as quickly as possible. A width setting of 30 aims to reduce the gaps between the players, making it challenging for the opposition to find spaces to exploit. The compactness increases the chances of interceptions and minimises the risks of opponents playing through the lines. A depth setting of 60 indicates a mid-block striking a balance between maintaining defensive solidarity and protecting the central defenders, Shaw and Botman, who might have limited pace. This setting helps limit through balls and counter-attacks. The offense. The build-up play is set to slow build-up. This allows Newcastle to establish control and dictate the tempo from the back, often involving the centre-backs in building the offensive moves. Chance creation is set to forward runs. This injects movement and pace into the forward line. This makes it very challenging for the opposition's defenders to track runs. This also tends to create space for Newcastle's attackers. While the strategy can drain stamina when combined with constant pressure, adjustments can be made to manage this. A width setting of 75 expands the field and creates room in the midfield, enabling fluid ball circulation and providing opportunities for creative players to exploit spaces effectively. Setting players in the box to 7 demonstrates Newcastle's intent to commit both forwards and an additional midfielder to attacking areas during Trippier's crosses from the right flank. This approach maximises the chances of converting crosses into goals. With corners and free kicks both set to 4, Newcastle maintains a balanced approach, ensuring defensive stability while still posing the offensive threat during set-piece situations. In summary, Newcastle United's 4-3-3 tactics under Eddie Howe focuses on a relentless pressing game while incorporating calculated possession-based build-up and dynamic attacking strategies. The tactical framework reflects a blend of defensive intensity and offensive creativity, aiming to bring out the best in this team's abilities. So, moving on to the instructions, of course, we'll start off with the goalkeeper. He is set to come for crosses. Of course, Nick Pope, huge, tall, big man Nick Pope. I think he's like, what, 6'7", 6'8", maybe? So he is a very tall, dominant, structured human being, you could say. So he is set to come for crosses, of course, very tall, like I say, very good at claiming those balls in the air. Aerial balls will be claimed by his long, lanky arms. So that's why I've set him to come for crosses. And then in the previous set of tactics, I think I may have set it to be a sweeper keeper, but what what I have noticed is even though he is trying, he's not essentially a sweeper keeper. He will look to more or less always try and stay on his line. He's not going to overly run out of his box, especially after last year's game versus Liverpool where he got the red card for handing the ball out the box. So I think, Nick Pope set to a bit more of a balanced approach. I think that gets the best out of him, and I think that's the most realistic approach that he does tend to take from time to time. As for Botman and Shaw, they are set to their base set of instructions. And then as for Dan Burn, I have him set to stay back while attacking, and then normal interceptions will be on, mixed attack will be on, and then of course stick to his position. So basically you don't want him to bomb on all the time. I know he can do it in certain moments, and by right you can definitely do that by double tapping the L1 button. It will allow the player you're pointing at to make runs, and you can obviously do that. But more importantly, you want him to remain a structured focal point in the defense on that left-hand side, making sure it's very hard for the opposition fullbacks or wingers on that side to try and attack down that left-hand side. And he has been a very, very good player in certain moments for Newcastle. Their defensive structure has basically been the likes of Burn, Botman and Shaw being very, very good at the back. So it works out very well for him. I think with the likes of Lewis Hall coming into the team, and maybe even Matt Target, that will change a bit more. Maybe they'll go with a bit more of an attacking outlet for that left back position. But when Dan Burn's in the team, he's not going to be making super advanced runs very far forward. He's going to hold his position, hold his place, and make sure that he's very hard to beat in the air or get beaten by his man essentially. And then as for Trippier, I have him set to join the attack and overlap. It's very self-explanatory. You want the likes of Trippier getting into those advanced final third areas, whipping in those amazing crosses he's very well capable of, finding the players like the likes of Gordon, Isaac, Almiron, maybe that extra midfielder in the box, of course. So you do want him playing into those offensive players and creating more opportunities for them going forward. He is also set to stick to his position. You don't really want him being super aggressive with his tackles, stepping up into the opposition. You want him just to have that nice shape, that back four. Of course, you don't want to have him stepping out, being too aggressive at times. So yes, that is Trippier's set of instructions. And then we've got Bruno Guimaraes. I've set him to cut passing lanes, have a balanced attack, normal interceptions, play as a deep-lying playmaker, and then cover the wing. Now, essentially, when I saw them buy Tonali, I was like, okay, so Guimaraes will be the box-to-box midfielder, Tonali will be the holding midfielder. And Eddie Howe said, actually, I like Guimaraes as that holding midfielder, and I like Tonali as the box-to-box. So I was very much taken back by that. But basically, I do have him with these set of instructions, mainly have the balanced attack on and not just the stay back. Because he does get forward a fair amount. He does more or less look to try and interchange positions with the likes of Joelinton or Tonali in certain moments. So you do want him as your DM to get forward a bit more, but he will also have the structural integrity of the centre defensive midfielder, holding that middle, holding that central part of the pitch. And obviously, going forward, a lot of the attacks will run through the likes of him and Tonali as well. But yes, he is still going to do a very good defensive job, cutting out the passing lanes, positioning himself very well to intercept those passes and then break up the play as well. And then we have Joelinton. I have set him to get forward. Of course, he will be your most attacking midfielder, essentially. He's going to be the number 10 at times. He's going to be the most advanced at times. So that's why I've set him to get forward, have a balanced crossing runs, aggressive interceptions. We've known and we've seen in the past that Joelinton is very aggressive when in possession of the ball, when out of possession of the ball, when trying to win the ball back. Very pacey as well. So I do like those characteristics of him. And obviously, in order to get that out of him in the game, you want to have him set onto aggressive interceptions. And then finally, he's set to drift wide. There were certain moments where, especially in the game against Liverpool, I did see him more or less overlapping the likes of Anthony Gordon from time to time, being the furthest wide player on the left-hand side in certain moments. So that's why I've set him to drift wide in certain moments of the game, of course. He will look to occupy that left-hand space a bit more. And then as for Sandro Tonali, I have him set to have a balanced attack, stay on the edge of the box, normal interceptions, cover the wing, and then, of course, free roam. So he's going to more or less pick out those little pockets of space to operate in, collect the ball, pass the ball off. He's a very robust player. I was very, very impressed with him. There were a lot of people, speculating, he might not be physical enough for the Premier League. And I must say, these opening 3 Premier League games, he has been fairly, fairly good. I mean, I know they've lost 2 out of the 3, but he has looked very, very good in that midfield trio, essentially. And then, of course, you want him to stay on the edge of the box to maybe collect and recycle possession, circulate it back into the offensive players, of course, maybe recycle it back into the likes of Kieran Trippier, who will then look to cross into the box. But basically, you do want him to have a bit more of a box-to-box role going forward. So starting off on the right-hand side, the right winger, Miguel Almiron. This time last year, he was the most loved player in Newcastle. I think after the Liverpool game, I don't think they love him that much. But anyway, nonetheless, he is set to come back on defence, have a balanced width, have a balanced support as well, get into the box for the crosses, of course, and then normal interceptions. Now, essentially, what you want your winger to do is have a stay wide situation because you want them to create width. But of course, on the right-hand side, you have the likes of Kieran Trippier bombing on down that right-hand side. So you do need a bit more space for your right flank or your right back to move into. So you can't really have that set to stay wide all the time. So what you do is you just have it on balance. So when Trippier does look to bomb on, Miguel Almiron will look to drop inside a bit more. But basically, like I say, you want your wingers holding the width, or essentially Kieran Trippier holding the width with Miguel Almiron more or less having a bit more of a freer role on the right-hand side. Whereas on your left-hand side, more or less the same instructions, but this time out and out, the left wing will look to stay wide, hug the touchline, create a load of space for the likes of Isaac, Joelinton, Tonali, or so on to work with, of course. Of course, having a balanced support, get into the box, and then, of course, normal interceptions. So, like I say, you want your wingers to create the width, to create spaces, little spaces, half spaces for your midfield to work with. And it works out very, very well. And, of course, you do want to try and create 1v1 situations, challenge the opposition fullback, beat them one-on-one, drive the ball into the box, and hopefully Isaac or Callum Wilson latches on and scores a goal. And then finally, we've got our striker, Isaac. He is said to have a balanced width now. He does tend to, peel off the back line, make angled runs in and out of the box, of course. So he will look to do that a bit more in the gameplay. But more importantly, he is said to get in behind. You want him playing off the shoulder of that back line. He is very, very pacey, so he can break into that space that hopefully the back line does tend to leave in behind for him. Normal interceptions will be on, and of course he will have a balanced defensive support. Now, I did say that with the likes of constant pressure and forward runs being on, it does drain the player's stamina. So what I've come up with is a great grand plan to maybe try and slow that down a bit. So you will look to try and alternate between these two formations and lineups when in and out of possession of the ball, or when you need to try and calm things down a bit more, or when you need your players just to relax a bit more when out of possession, essentially, right? So basically it's the same formation exactly, nothing's really changed, same positions, everything like that, as you can see there, just a 4-3-3 flat. But this is where things change ever so slightly. For defensive style, I've gone with pressure and heavy touch. So they'll look to try and, hang back a little bit, not be so aggressive with it, and they'll make a wait and make the opponent make their own mistakes, and then they'll look to pounce and capitalize and try and spring a quick, fast-paced counter-attack. Of course, the width and the depth both set to the same as the previous set of instructions, but this time you've got it set to a fast-paced build-up. So you, like I say, you want to have the ability to trigger the counter-attacks with the fast-paced build-up being set to on. Of course, forward runs is on 75 width as normal, but this time as well, there's an extra player, or the extra player that was slightly deeper, or on the edge of the box. He's going to make a bit more of a deeper run into the box, definitely trying to create another body in there to try and, latch onto a Kieran Trippier cross, or an Almiron cross, or whoever's crossing the ball, left or right flank, of course. And then corners and free kicks, as per always, set to 4. And then basically for the instructions, Pope is set to the same. You have your fullbacks, Trippier and Burn there, set to the same set of instructions. The likes of your midfield as well, all the same. But this is where it changes ever so slightly. Your forward line changes a little bit. Now for this situation, you've got Anthony Gordon. He's set to, come back on defense, have a bit more of a balance with. So he's not going to look to just always hug the touchline, and he will look to try and stretch that back line a little bit more. We did see it against Trent. He was inside, outside more times than not, making runs at him, making runs in behind him, exploiting the space that Trent would leave in behind. And he did a very, very good job with that, to be fair. And then, of course, he's set to get into the box. So basically, for your wingers, you want them to create that space and run into that space in behind. So you will be looking for the occasional long ball over the top in behind, trying to exploit that the opposition's high line if they are playing one. I know Liverpool do tend to play a very good high line at times. And the same is set for Miguel Almiron. And then finally, we've got Isaac. He is set to get in behind and then stay forward. Slight differentiation, just set to stay forward, but he will also look to try and press that back line, play off the shoulder of them, make runs in behind as well. So yes, my people, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, hit that like button down below. Hit one of those videos over there if you would like. Subscribe if you are new. Most importantly, I'm always open to having new people on the channel. Comments down below, please, if you would like to. Comment down below if you enjoyed this video. If there's anything I may have gotten wrong, let me know, please. But most importantly, I hope you guys have a damn great day. Until the next one, I'm out.